Hey all, howdy. Welcome to One for the Books. I'm Sandy Broadwell, and today we're going to talk about my goals for 2026. And a lot of these are just like things I'm looking forward to more so than my goals. I want to have things to look forward to for the upcoming year because 2025, I'm not going to lie, has been kind of rough. We just moved to Asheville, North Carolina last year, and basically as we were moving here was when Hurricane Helene really devastated this community. And so it's been a weird year to be in a new place. There were months after we moved here when like restaurants weren't open and lots of things were destroyed and there was no water, and yeah, people were just really devastated. It hasn't been a very social year. There hasn't been as much going on, at least until the summertime. It took, from about September last year till summertime of 2025 for Asheville to really start to feel a little bit more normal. And about that time was when my husband found out that he was being laid off from a job that he'd had for 10 years. So that was really hard. He did find a new job relatively quickly before we had to dip into savings or anything like that. And that worked out well. But because he knew he was going to be laid off, there was, 3 months basically during the summer when we were trying not to spend any money. So that really threw off a lot of our plans and goals for the summer. And then about the time that he started his job and things started to feel like we were, starting to feel normal, like, oh, good, like we live in this community that's like getting back on its feet and we're getting back on our feet. And then our van engine blew up. For those of you who don't know, my husband and I lived in our van for about a year and a half before we moved to Asheville. We traveled all over the country. We've had the van since 2018 and it's been amazing. But yeah, we were just taking it on a random weekend kayaking trip and it died. The engine blew up. Basically since late August, it has been in the shop. As of the time I'm filming this on December 23rd right now, we still do not have it back, and it has cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So we will have it back very soon. That's what I'm being told. That has ruined a lot of our traveling plans, and on top of that, it's cost so much money that it really threw a wrench in a lot of our home renovation plans as well. Of course, also on top of that, 2025 politically has been an absolute nightmare. So I'm really looking forward to things being better in 2026, and I can't wait to leave 2025 behind. So because of all of the context I just gave, I did not complete a lot of my goals that I had for 2025. And I don't want to linger on that. Life's sometimes. But I do want to talk about things that we did in 2025 that I'm really proud of or very happy about. I started a vegetable garden, which was one of my goals that I completed, and it went even better than I expected. I built 3 raised beds out front. My husband built a raised bed in the back, and he also built an indoor home hydroponic system. And we got so many vegetables this year that we grew ourselves. It was awesome, and I can't wait to do it again in 2026. We also turned our 2-bedroom home into a 3-bedroom home, which was very exciting. This house was once upon a time a 3-bedroom home, but someone had knocked a wall out, and we put that wall back up, and now our house is so much more functional. I'm very excited about that. We actually have somewhere for guests to stay when they come over, and it's been great. We also built a back patio, fire pit with flagstones this year back in the spring, and that has been an absolute lovely centerpiece to our yard and has really facilitated some great social times. And also just I just love sitting around the fire in the backyard with my husband. So that's been really lovely. Just before filming this, I was watching last year's goals video and saw that one of my goals had been like finding a great nonprofit locally to volunteer with. And I did do that. So that's great. I have been volunteering with a pollinator advocacy group and like learning a lot about native plants and gardening and the life cycles of these tiny animals that live around us all the time. So that's been really fun. So those are all things that happened this past year that I'm really happy about. So let's talk about 2026. So let's talk about some goals and things I'm looking forward to, both. I have 10 of them. 3 of them are related to reading because this is a books channel. And then the rest of them are just going to be kind of general life stuff. So if you don't care about that, feel free to click off at any point. For my reading goals for 2026, they're pretty chill because I expect this coming year is going to be a lot for a lot of reasons. But last year I had a goal to read at least 8 classics because I was behind on my overall goal of reading 40 classics before I turned 40. I did meet that goal this year, so for the upcoming year, I'm going back to my regular goal, which is reading 6 classics, and that should keep me on track for hitting 40 classics before I turn 40. For the last 2 years in a row, I've had a goal to read at least 10 new releases, and that has been a fun and easy goal. So I just like that one because it keeps me abreast of the new things that are happening in the genres that I love, and like being able to make content around the Goodreads Choice Awards and things like that is always fun. So just keeping my pulse on sci-fi and fantasy each year is a fun way to participate in BookTube. And then my third reading goal for this year is to prioritize sci-fi. I had a video a few months ago that I made about my priority sci-fi reads. And yeah, my goal for this coming year is at least to have sci-fi as like a 50-50 split with fantasy, if not overtake fantasy probably for the first time since I was in middle school. So yeah, I just really want to make sci-fi a bigger part of my reading and not just like a 1/3 of my reading that I do every year. So that's it for the reading goals. Let's talk about house goals. If you watched my goals video last year, some of these will sound very similar because they are the same. But like I said at the beginning, we've had a lot of things throw a wrench in some of our plans. So my big ones are remodeling our kitchen, which we are hoping to start in January. We are going to knock out a wall between our kitchen and living room and add in a big island bar, which I'm very excited about. That'll be phase 1 of the kitchen remodel, and then phase 2 will actually be like redoing all the cabinets and countertops and things like that. So that's big. House goal number 2 is build a big front porch. We did the back patio instead of the porch last year, but I think we can still pull it off. Honestly, the kitchen renovation might be so big of a project that that's all we get done this year. And if that's the case, that'll absolutely be fine. But I am eventually looking forward to having a big front porch on this house. My third goal for the house this year is to build a bookshelf wall. That one in my head is sort of tied to the kitchen remodel because right now I have my bookshelf is like pushed up against the wall that we're going to be tearing out. And so when that wall is no longer there, then that won't make sense for my bookshelf to be there anymore. And so that bookshelf will be moving back to my office. And then my husband and I are planning to build a big bookshelf wall in our living room, which I think is going to be amazing and is going to totally transform the space. And then my last 4 goals are just general life things. So general life goal number 1 is my husband and I just signed up to take a stained glass class at the local community college, and I am so stoked. It's like a 6 weeks class that's going to take place January through February. So we're going to learn how to make stained glass art, and I cannot wait. I think that is going to be so much fun, and I hope that I get really into it, and I'm able to like get all the tools and materials I need to be able to do it at home and like be able to make stained glass gifts for people, yeah, I just think that would be so amazing. So already registered for that class, already paid for it, stoked to learn how to do stained glass this year. Second sort of life thing is I want to buy an e-bike this year, which I don't know that a purchase is really a goal, but I ride my bike to work most days, or at least I would say at least half of the days. I have a regional job, so a lot of times I have to like drive to other cities and not just work in the city that I live in. But on the days when I do work just in my home city, I like riding my bike to work, and I do that a lot. But Asheville is way more mountainous, way more hilly than any place I've ever lived before. And there's a lot of times when I need to go to meetings downtown, and downtown is like 6 miles away from where my office is in town. And I can bike between those places, but it takes a long time and it's a lot of effort because there's so many hills. And I feel like when I was in Lexington, like biking 6 miles for a meeting was like no big deal, but here it is a big deal. And so I was never the type of person that felt like I needed an e-bike, but I do feel like I need an e-bike now. And I think having an e-bike will be essentially like replace a lot of car trips for me right now, because on days right now where I have to like go to my office and then go downtown and then go back to my office and then come home, like that might be a 20-mile day. And so right now I'm choosing to drive sometimes when that's the case. And I know if I had an e-bike that I would choose to bike, because it wouldn't be as big of an effort and as big of an inconvenience and that sort of thing. So I think an e-bike is going to be a game changer, and I'm planning to probably get an e-bike for myself for my birthday this year, which is around March. So really looking forward to that. My third life goal in general this year is just to write more. I had some writing goals last year that I failed, but I don't want to put too big of a pin on this one, but I just want to write more. I want to be a writer. I want to consider myself a writer. I want to write often enough that that is something that I think of when I think of myself, whether that's weekly or monthly or whatever. I just want to like be in the habit. So I need to be intentional about how I do that and setting that into my routine. And I think I am settled enough in my job and my life here now that I have routines that I can adjust rather than making them up as I go. And then my 10th goal, my last goal that I'm going to talk about for this video, my last life goal, is just to get outside more. Not that I haven't been outside, but I haven't been doing many outdoor activities this past year because of Hurricane Helene, and also because of our van situation. Helene really destroyed a lot of the trails around here, the rivers around here, things like that. And so the whitewater kayaking that we were planning to do and a lot of the hiking that we wanted to do, we just didn't get out and explore very much because it was so devastating, and the trails were closed and the rivers were inaccessible and things like that. So in 2026, things have recovered, and I really want to prioritize getting out and about and exploring our local rivers and forests more. And hopefully we'll have our van back very, very soon, and we'll be able to take that on some trips as well. And yeah, just prioritize more fun in our lives and not be so bogged down in the day-to-day, which I feel like we were a lot this past year. So yeah, those are my 10 goals for 2026 / 10 things I'm really looking forward to. So I'd love to hear in the comments below something that you're really looking forward to in your own life in 2026. And I hope that your 2026 is also better than your 2025, and that we all have a lot to look forward to coming up soon. So thanks so much for hanging out and tuning in with me for a little bit today. As always, please be kind, read books, and hit the subscribe button down below for more bookish content to come. I'll see you next year.